Hey, Shalom, Akim Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Rachakodash. I would like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and also teaching this truth. And much peace, love, and salutation to the elect, beginning with the 144,000, all the way down to the large multitude that believes in who the Lord will deliver in these last days. To you all, I say Shalom. I'm the brother Tazamah from the Great Millstone Dallas camp, coming back today with another lesson, and Lord willing, you Akim and you Yahawah that are listening will find this lesson edifying and to the point. And this lesson is not going to be too long, but I wanted to do a brief lesson, or a brief testimony, I'd rather say, in regarding to a dream that I actually had not last night, but the night before last, and it did feel extremely weird, or not weird. That's the wrong word I said, but it did feel extremely real. Okay, and it goes to show forth, as the scripture says, that in Isaiah the 59th chapter, how when the enemy shall come in like a flood, then the Lord will lift up a standard in that day. And when you get that word standard in the Hebrew, all right, when you get that word standard in the Hebrew, it goes into the word, I want to say it's Nasa, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody could put it in the comment board, but it goes into to disappear by way of flight, you know, or to escape by way of flight. Really, realistically, the standard is going to be lifted, whereas we'll be able to escape, and it's going to be the spirit of Yahawashi upon his men in that day, all right, to be able to do miraculous things. And you know, some of those miraculous things that will be done will be, you know, giving his men superpower, or, you know, even sending an angel, you know, even sending an angel to even, you know, deliver us out of our scenarios and our situations too. As you read, that happened to our forefathers, like the the Apostle Paul, the Apostle Peter, you know. So without further ado, I'll get right into it. But pretty much what happened was, in my dream, I was in some building. I was in a house or a building or something along those lines, and there were some troops that were outside, either looking to get into the building or into the house, or they were waiting for us to get out. Pretty much, it seemed like a besiegement. Like, you know, you get like you're besieged. And with that taking place, the spirit told me to go out, because I had to go outside and go into to pretty much get into a truck. You know, get into a truck or a vehicle. It was a truck, but it was like an 18-wheeler, or it was a big truck I was supposed to get into. You know, so, but I knew that the troops was outside. You know, so I go out, and as I'm walking, you know, I pretty much start walking. It's like, in a sense, like, you know how it's the only way I could put it, but like you could kind of imagine it in a sense, whereas like you walk it, like you go out, you're standing outside, or you're standing somewhere, and you begin to walk, and maybe somebody could be like throwing, like it could be people on the left and on the right of you, and they could begin to start throwing like water balloons at you, or start shooting you with water guns, and you kind of just walking through, and you know you're about to get wet. So it kind of felt like that, but not necessarily with water balloons and water guns, of course, you know. But they had actual weapons. So I'm walking to the truck, you know, and as I'm walking, you know, they start shooting. You know, they just start unloading, like fully automatic weapons. They just start unloading, you know. But as they're shooting, it sounds like, you know, it sounds like the metal. It sounds like the bullets are bouncing off of metal. It sounds like they're shooting a vehicle, even though the truck's in front of me. You know, so it was like there was no vehicle in front of me or anything like that. Like the truck was in front of me, so it was, you know, but that was hitting me. But it sounded like that was bouncing off of metal. So, and I, you know, as they start shooting, I immediately like put my hand up to kind of like cover my cover my head. But it sounds like metal is just getting shot up, like, you know. So eventually I get to the door of the truck. I get to the door of the truck, and they're standing in front of the truck, and wow, it's crazy. It was like a truck like that. It was a white one too. But they getting like now the troops are like in front of the truck. It's a lot of them. It looked like from the naked eye, it looked like there could have been at least like 30, 40 of them. So they're standing in front of the truck, and then immediately, they're looking at me, and all of a sudden their eyes start bleeding, and their ears start bleeding, and they're screaming in pain and agony. They start screaming like that. Like I said, they're bleeding out their eyes, they're bleeding out their nose, they're bleeding out their ears, and then I hear on the walkie-talkie, that, I don't know how I heard the walkie-talkie in the dream, but I hear in the walkie-talkie, and they're like, don't look into his eyes, don't look into his eyes. If you look into his eyes, you'll die. Don't look at him. Don't look in his eyes. And his eyes are red. His eyes are red. So I'm like, what the? I'm thinking in my head, like, what's going on? Like, his eyes is red. And then, it makes me think about the scripture in Revelation, where it says that Yahawah's eyes are as a flame of fire. His eyes are red as a flame of fire. So it said his eyes are red. His eyes are red. So these people just dropping dead in front of me. Like, all the troops that was in front of me just dropping dead. And it makes me think, I don't know if you've seen the movie Resident Evil, the second one. The second Resident Evil movie that came out, where the woman, she pretty much gets taken up by the Umbrella Corporation, and they do like these tests on her, and then towards the end of the movie, at first she didn't really know, she had lost all her motor skills and things of that nature, but eventually all her memory comes back. Pretty much all her memory comes back. And she's like a weapon. Like, she's like a walking weapon at that point. But at the end of the movie, she was like escaping the laboratory, and as she's escaping the laboratory, she looks into like a security camera, and the dude that's in the security room is looking at all the TVs, and he's like trying to monitor her, and all of a sudden all the TVs turn to her. You know what I'm saying? And then she looks into the security camera, and then the dude's eyes started bleeding, the dude's nose started bleeding. He just starts bleeding out of everything, and then eventually he just falls out, and then she just walks off. It kind of reminded me of that, and that's kind of what it looked like. Like I said, you got to see the second Resident Evil movie and the end of the movie to know what I'm talking about. But I just remember hearing the walkie-talkie. His eyes is red. His eyes are red. Don't look in his eyes. Don't look in his eyes. Don't look in his eyes. So after the people dropped dead in front of me, after all these troops dropped dead, I look in the rear view. I look in the rear view mirror of this truck that I was in, and my eyes was like, they were red, but they was going back to normal. They was red, but then they were like going back to my normal, like the normal white of your eyes and your brown, they was going back to normal. So I took that in a sense, like, whoa, man, like, the spiritual power that Yahawah is going to give his men, it's going to be on a whole nother level, and the Lord is going to do some far out things, as the scripture says. Eyes have not seen, nor ears heard, nor is it coming to the mind of things that the Lord has prepared for them that love him. And it's also written that what? No weapon that's formed against thee shall prosper. No weapon that's formed against us is going to prosper, man. And the spiritual power that Yahawah is going to give his men, it's going to be miraculous events that are going to take place, whereas you're going to know that it's Yahawah doing it. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to do this lesson. It's not going to be long. And I was quoting scriptures. Lord willing, this is an edifying lesson. Like I said, it was just to the point. I just wanted to just do a testimony in this dream that I had. Lord willing, it's edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah B'Shem Yahawashi, B'Shem Chakudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth, and that's what teaching this truth. And much peace, love, and salutations to the elect. Until next time, I say, Shalom.